Welcome everyone. It is day number 4 of our LCO playoffs. It's been a fantastic week already. We've all got the glasses on. Skimmy, do you want to do a fit check, by the way? I feel like today is the day that we need your fit check.
That's what you're seeing for the meantime. As the day goes on, you'll see more and more and more.
A little bit more reveal. I like that Max and I both went for the collared shirt here today, though. Max, you're looking fire. You're looking good.
Oh, looking fire, Pookie, thanks. Look, I had to bring a bit of elegance. It's an important occasion, and I had to kind of reflect that in my dress.
That's right. It is a big occasion. We'll talk about how big today is in a little bit, because right now we want to have a look at our elimination best of 3 that happened yesterday.
Oh, we're live. What a surprise that is. How did that happen? I don't even know where I am right now, but barking aside, Max, and the Weavers will to try and split this fight apart, looking for the shove on towards King, who doesn't have flash. What he does, but he doesn't decide to use it. Zoran is tanking up all that damage, and they can't answer back.
It's desperation from Rhea Fury and Kanga.
It certainly is. King has the Featherstall, but doesn't even need to burn it. Look at that, Rhea Fury threatening, but it wasn't really much of a threat after all. The Nature's Grasp, Antic are here to back their boys up in red. And Ryoma on the great trail from mid to bot goes 4-0. Feathers finds the angle, rips them back, and will say, look,
yes,
you could get one on the board by taking me down in mid lane. He's going to flank around the corner, only find himself a Sun Disc as they turn their attention towards Ryoma. Filming Shadow goes out and tries to turn him. Flash, stun, but they can't get King. He's ticking down. Did he ignite? And it is in fact Wooden that finds their kill. They're going to find a second as they look to try and remove as many of these Baron buffs as possible. That's free. Hunting for a fall. Reimer is gone, and it's an ace and a perfect one. Nantic surely are thinking, can we go for one more fight to get in the game right off that? So that's exactly what they're going to do. They eventually to start things off as Review jumps in with a reckless abandon as he slingshots back. He dies and falls victim to a bit of a wombo combo. King with a double, hunting for more as they lock them inside the fountain and say, GG, there's the ace. It's a pentakill for King to set the tone for this elimination game. No matter how many members turn towards him, he is simply immune to damage. Fury flashing to safety, but his team is not going to share that same fate. He's going to die, King, as the Destiny comes across. Zonis snipes out Woodon, going all out, dragging him back, and saying, who wants to pick up this kill? Triple then for Ioma. You kill one carry, you've still got a second to take that in the approach. Unleash the power and make it a quadra for the ace.
Gosh, yesterday definitely delivered, especially if you're an Antic fan. They do keep their lower bracket and their PCS dreams alive. They got that 2-0 over Kanga. It's a little bit bittersweet. We do end up seeing Kanga then dropping out, but in 4th. So you have to be pretty happy with that. And it does mean our 3 remaining teams, Antic down there, and of course, Team Bliss and Ground Zero in this upper bracket, which has turned to a best of 5 that we will get to witness today, Max.
Yeah, buddy, best of 5's finally coming in here for 2 teams that we haven't seen since Monday, but these certainly are organizations that have established themselves at the top of the EOS hierarchy. Today, we'll establish which one of those is actually going to the PCS as our first seed, but there's still certainly a lot of room and a lot of games to be played before we can declare that outcome.
Yeah, I mean, the fact that it's a best of 5, we're guaranteed at least 3 games, so a little bit longer of a day than yesterday's, Kimmy. It's going to be enjoyable. Hopefully, like its own meta starts forming in this best of 5. I think that's what I'm most excited for.
Yeah, I really hope so. In terms of sort of, we've already got the respect bans out the way, but it's very difficult to try and really get to grasps for that in a best of 2 format, right? So best of 3s, maybe a little bit more into that sort of opening, but best of 5, yeah, you're going to start to see all these pocket picks really look to be either exploited or denied, and perhaps a lot of those meta champions actually fall to the wayside because you're just saying that champion last game had a 1v9 performance. Now that has to be that go-to ban.
Yeah, that's the upsetting thing I want to say about saying goodbye to Kanga is on the 2 days that we saw them for playoffs, they really delivered in branching out of the meta, picking up a lot of pocket pick champions and showing us that it's not always the same things that are going to work for yourself. If you have discipline for your execution, then you can make things like picking up a Jhin, Max, work for your team.
I feel like I would have to check the stats to back this up, but it really does feel like Kanga had it one of, if not the most unique champion picks in the game, right? I think every time they came into a draft, they were looking to do something different. They were looking to catch their opponent off guard, and so many times it did end up working out. You can see one of the highlights of the split, in my opinion, here from Kurak here on this Zillion support pick, which is just so niche that you really have to put the time and effort into learning it in solo queue. But I really love this team. I think that their approach to not only the mental aspect of the game, you can see with Sticks coming in, the team environment was always one of smiles, always one where they're looking to stay positive even after some of their bad losses. And that really does give me hope for the future that what we're going to see from this team.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know the stats, you're right, but the fact that we got Fury on Tuesday, picking up Galio and Kassadin, two champs that I don't even remember the last time we saw it played in LCO. Maybe Galio a little bit more, but Kassadin, Skim, I mean, that one was definitely, it was like a 5-pick too for them, their last pick.
Absolutely, the full greed for a champion that really does need a full draft to really function, right? You need to make sure that you know all the chess pieces on the board, because if you blind pick that one, you will have a severely bad time. But yeah, obviously made it work, made sure that Woodon had a very awful time, but said, don't worry, mate, I'll pay it forward, we'll get the dub, and we'll look good as a result.
Yeah, unfortunately, that 0-2 for them yesterday, rough. Not going to see them anymore, but such a pleasure to see them in Split 1 LCO. Look forward to hopefully what a lot of those players and maybe that roster can bring for us in future splits. But let's start talking about this matchup, because they're going to be getting the first slot to PCS. You already mentioned it, Max, going in as our first seed, and so we thought with such a high stakes game going out here, coming onto a best of 5, we bring in some more experts as well to continue this playoffs journey. We got Pabu kicking us off here. He said 3-1 in this best of 5 towards Bliss. I fully expect Bliss to bring home this win, but her father has never let me down, and why not is a demon when he really wants to win. Hashtag Bliss up, Skim.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. Bio Daddy certainly is the go-to in terms of he just gets it done time and time again. It comes to playoffs, and he just wants to win that. And that's always what he's done, right? It could be the Cassante, slam that for the 9th time this split and say, I don't care. It gets W's, I'll do what the team needs on me. But that's what I get excited about those best of 5s for, because he can look to try and showcase that his champion pool, he's played like, what, 50 different champions, and why not also in that same category?
Yeah, a lot is open for them. We also got Raze as well. He gave us his opinion on this series. Same prediction, 3-1 towards Team Bliss. I predict Bliss to take the series 3-1, while I give Ground Zero the slight edge in the jungle matchup. I expect Bliss to come out on top if they can keep the game low volatility and win it through team fighting and late game macro decisions. You're nodding along there, Max.
Yeah, I mean, I think he identifies it really well there, the fact that it is this low volatility gameplay that Bliss excel at, and that doesn't kind of mean that they're this low variance team that only has to play this standard style. I think they have shown that they have a wide range of playstyles that they can go towards, but I think it really just comes down to the fact that they are the more disciplined team. They are the more decisive team, come to those late game decisions. So if they can negate kind of the ground zero chaotic situation that they always want to create, that can be a real strong point for them.
Yeah, that's the thing. Ground Zero love to fight. We saw it in that 3-game best of 3 against Antic on Monday, the last time we saw them play. So we know that they love a bit of a bloodbath and a bit of skirmish. The last person though that we did reach out to was Jubes again. He said it's going all 5 games, so a little bit of a change up, but he still believes it's going to go 3-2 in favor of Bliss here. He said their solo lanes are really good. Bio doesn't get enough credit, but I think he's the best top in O's for a very long time. And Hayri, well, he's Hayri. I feel like that's also pretty fair. A lot of the names sort of explain themselves, but hey, Bio definitely gets a lot of credit. I feel like all we do is give this man praise, Skimmy.
Well, I think so too. And I mean, he's got 5 championship titles under his belt right now. If he gets a 6, he's then tied with the likes of Raze and Babbitt for the all-time #1 position in the entire region. So I think at that point, you should have got to put Bio in the conversation as the best top laner that Osh has ever produced. So what did we mention the other day? I think it was like 3 titles won in the last 4 splits. It's a pretty remarkable level of consistency across since 2018 he first had that title won. So to remain that strong for that long is no easy feat.
Yeah, he's always been a force to reckon with. Definitely one of the first names you think of when it comes to O's top laners too. So we'll see though if Jubes is going to be the right one out of the bunch with it going to 5 games, or if Pablo and Braze are more on the mark with their 3-1 predictions there. But either way, we keep talking and harping on about what we could potentially be seeing coming out for champions, because we are on this patch 14.3. It's going to be our whole patch 4 playoffs as we are nearing the end of it. And we wanted to compare what our mid-champion pool here in LCO in O's has been compared to globally. And Max, I think you want to kick us off here looking at all these champions.
Yeah, so first thing you'll notice is Orianna is still kind of that go-to pick. Not as high presence globally as we have been seeing so far in the playoffs, but it definitely is still that premier option, followed by Azir. And that's really where the similarities end. You can see that we kind of deviate away from the norm that you're seeing globally. The major question mark for me is Karma in the mid lane. Now, obviously, this is dictated by the mid lanes that we do have present in the playoffs, but we really haven't been seeing this champion be picked up towards that position, right? Not many players willing to take that more supportive role and give the backseat and give the reins over to their teammates. So another pick as well that we saw a little bit of Rhea Fury and some other mid laners, Talia. It's our third highest presence there in the mid lane. Offers a lot in terms of both kind of safety in lane, but also negates a lot of these strong engage comps that we've seen coming through.
Yeah, I like the fact that globally, Smolder's been placed into that mid, and now it makes you question, we already don't know how to answer a Smolder skimmy when it's being picked up on ADC. What if it gets picked up and then we see it flex towards mid? There's now so much more potential for it, and are we really going to potentially see it in LCO and maybe even today?
Well, that's exactly right, Nat. I mean, really what you're looking at, a lot of those champions from the global stats are very flexible, right? The Karma primarily being played in the bot lane, certainly can be played in top as well, but it's maybe taking it a little bit too far. We've already seen the Twist of Fate be that freeway flex, but for Smolder, given its amount of success it's found in bot lane, where you're basically guaranteed to get a quadra or a pentakill, it almost feels like a bit of a crime to actually try and say that's a flex into mid. But until we've seen it, it's hard to say, isn't it?
Yeah, it is really tough. I am excited to see where it does rank, what the priority is going to be, because we already had the least Smolder shenanigans that happened on Monday. But for right now, we don't want to speculate too much more. We want to dive into our matchup. But before we can do that, we need to have a short break. So stay tuned, because when we do come back, it is Bliss against Ground Zero in a best of 5.
He's after becomes the Varus. Full stand on the stopwatch. It's carnage. They're all charged at his command. Oh, the boom! It's do or die.
Bliss up against Ground Zero. We knew that these two teams were going to be the top two teams coming in, but we'll see who's going to be going through to PCS in this best of 5. Bliss coming in so strong, right? Pretty much undefeated. The only time that it has been was when they faced off against Ground Zero in the regular splits. This lineup maybe looking to prove that Ground Zero aren't going to take another game off of them, Skimmy.
Well, that's exactly right. Yeah, they mentioned in their interview from Why Not saying they played a little bit too scared, a little bit too reserved in that first match, but then they turned it around in a pretty convincing fashion, right? If you remember, they went for the LCO Diana and went in with a fair degree of reckless abandon and showcased that, yeah, we are the better team if we look to try and play our own style, not maybe show you too much respect. And there's a big reason why they've managed to find themselves as that first seed and on that infinite win streak. So it's going to be a tough one, and you can understand why most of the critics and everybody else out there thinks that Bliss are the favourites.
Yeah, I love the infinite win streak. Ground Zero, no doubt, looking to put a stop to that one, and a very intimidating lineup looking back at us, Max.
Yeah, very scary. If you've heard any of the behind-the-scenes voice comms from their previous altercation against Antic on Twitter, you will know this is a team that loves to get loud, both in terms of playstyle and in their communications as well. This is a squad who really have had their ups and downs throughout this, but I think they have been struggling to find that consistency. But even from them, we've heard that they're peaking at the right time. They're coming into playoffs, obviously, in this upper bracket final here, and they're looking to do what they did, which was beat Bliss in the regular season.
Was it Schoenfire that posted the comms, Max?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, okay,
when he stole the Elder.
Yeah, that was headphones warning is all I'm going to say for that one if you guys want to go and check it out for yourselves. But we're going to highlight replays here about the last time that Ground Zero and Bliss were to match up. It was game number 1. You already mentioned a little bit there, Skimmy, that Ground Zero were able to take back from them. So Bliss being able to bounce back and win that game number 2 is a true testament that they are one of the best teams, I think, at adapting in a very short amount of time.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I think ultimately you're sort of looking at champions that have so much in their toolkit, and it's a case of looking to try and maybe utilize and sort of min-max to a degree where it can certainly feel quite paralyzing. But then to come back in and say, yeah, we're going to play a Diana Yasuo, it is very much I see a target, we kill that target, right? So there is no second guessing that can take place here. Obviously, a bit of a different meta took place back then, right? You see the likes of Corki that we've no longer seen since those changes on the 14-3 patch we're playing on now. But for the most part, a lot of these champions are still going to be a very much relevant factor. Poppy in particular, a bit of a shout out to that one, I think. Given the amount of champions and sort of team styles leading that they want to go forward, Poppy certainly can be the go-to with that steadfast presence.
What patch was this? Week 3, was it the hotfix patch that they were playing on, Skim? I mean, Max has got a great memory.
This would have been 14.2 or 1. I mean,
14.1 B.
14.1.
B. It was a hotfix patch.
Okay, nice.
Just got it in my ear. Then, so yeah, that was definitely a weird sort of week to be on that hotfix patch. It's like the first time that we've really seen that in competitive play too. So hey, there's a lot of things that you could attribute to it, but either way, it does excite me for the fact that we could be going to all 5 games for this. It's very clear that at any point either team could have the advantage over the other one. But let's bring in and let's do our pre-game interviews here. I want to talk to BioPanther. Hopefully he's our first person that we have here joining us. It is Bio. Hey, look, I had to double check because I got told very last minute that the original person I requested did not want to speak to me. So we're blessed with you instead, Bio. How are you feeling?
Good. Yeah, it was just like, oh, it was why not? And then he was just like, oh, I need to power up. I need to have a pre-game ritual. And I was like, just chuck me in, man. It doesn't matter. Like, I'm not that type of player that needs all that. So yeah, I'm down.
I love it. Tag me in. What is his? Can you leak what his pre-game ritual is? And if you were to have one, what would yours be?
Like he just needs to like really get into like the mindset of like his opponent. Like he just needs to know his jungle pathing, who he's versing, what champions he could verse. Like he's really into that. And for me, I have the same idea. It's just like what champs I'm gonna verse, like what counter picks I have against Ian, and like that's just all that matters for me, anyways.
Well, I'm glad that you brought up champions here because I want to know how much begging has been going on behind the scenes to not get Cassante insta-locked.
Oh, like I say it in these interviews because like I'm genuine about it. That like like Cassante is just the well-rounded best top laner in the game, and like it's kind of illegal that I get it like 4-5. Like it should be banned like on 4-5 at least. But I don't know, just people give it to me and I just win. So at the end of the day, like I want to be able to like flex my muscles, but like right now top lane is just Cassante. So.
I love that. That's like a quote for the ages, right? Just I get Cassante and I win. It's also been a while though since we last saw you guys Monday. It's been quite some days. So how is prep been going for you guys and enjoying that time off, or are you just ready and raring to jump into a best of 5?
Well, we were able to get like a flex team where like it was just a bunch of pros just like being able to like help us out. Like they really helped us with our practice. So like shout out to them, and they know who they are. So at the end of the day, like I think we're like really prepped for this game.
Nice. Max, do you want to ask some questions?
Yeah. Hey, Brandon. Speaking of prep, I guess Ground Zero have been the only team to ever take a game off you guys this entire split, right? So what did you guys take from looking back at that previous altercation and thinking, okay, we're going to change some stuff up coming into today?
Well, I think it just comes down to like team fighting and just being on the same page. Because at the end of the day, I don't mind like these laning leads or like if they get like a lane lead bot, it doesn't matter. But like if we can just team fight better, like play our macro game better, like it just doesn't matter. Like we'll just be able to like finesse them. So I just really prefer us to not like literally just don't lock our lane our gameplay into our lanes and just play the map.
Perfect. Team fight kingdom.
And we do have time as well, Skimmy, if you want to jump in.
I can sneak my question in. Big Dog,
Yeah.
what are you feeling about the season? Because I look at your KDA, 12.2, looks like it's a career high. You've never been as strong as you have been right now. Do you feel that yourself, or is it just a case of the league as a whole and the team that you're with?
I feel like I've grown a lot as a player. Like naturally, I'm able to like play a lot different things. I am a facilitator at the end of the day as like a playstyle thing, but I just know my limits. I know what I would need to do, and I've been playing this game for a long time. So I just feel like until someone like can step up and like contest me, then I will just always be on top.
There you go, another quote for you. Boom.
Yeah. All right. It's been a great interview, Bio. Thank you so much for joining us, and good luck today.
Thank you so much.
So yeah.
He's good with those little sound bites, isn't he?
He is. That's what I'm thinking. Give me Cassante and I'll just win. That's. Thanks, Max. I really appreciate your input.
I didn't really have anything smart to say, so I kind of just like wanted to feel like I was involved in the conversation.
I'm nodding along.
Right.
Yep.
I can get you involved in this one though. He talked about like not wanting to pinpoint themselves to just being like this sort of lane focus that they want to try and explore a little bit more. Do you think that's even a worry for them in this matchup? Do you think?
Yeah, look, I mean, it's funny. It's funny that you say that, right? It's funny that Bio says that he doesn't want to worry about laning.
Yeah.
Because you look at the Bliss lanes, it's him, Hayri, and Violet. Like, where are you actually worried about laning being an issue? It's definitely not.
That's what I was wondering.
So to come in and be like, oh, our biggest issue is our laning phase, it's almost comical, the fact that that's really the biggest thing they need to work on.
Yeah, and we were also wondering a little bit about scrims, because a lot of teams have said that they've struggled getting scrims coming into playoffs, and I think it is just the fact of you don't know who's going to be going up against who when you do fall to the lower bracket. If you do, who's going to stay in the upper bracket, so it's been tough, but they were able to get some scrims in for themselves, Max.
Yeah, look, I think the zombie squads have always come around to help teams who are looking to contest towards the end of the split, and I think that it can actually be even good playing against those zombie teams. I know whenever I've been involved in one, they often tend to win a lot, and it kind of exposes flaws that you haven't really seen before in the split playing against the same teams over and over again. So it can be nice to come in and get a fresh perspective at the end of a long split.
Yeah, so what you're saying is they didn't call you up this split?
Yeah, no, I'm not even the bit saltiest about that. Not at all.
He's not even in the Discord. He's not even in the channels anymore. That feels...
Yeah, we'll keep that one as a note from the Bio interview there. But we got our second interview. We better get it started. We've got Shirt and Fire here joining us. Shirt and Fire, how are you feeling? You guys coming up against Bliss for the first PCS slot?
I'm warm. I'm very warm right now.
I like it. That's all you need to say. You guys had a very close series though with Antic, okay? Like you can't really word it any other way. So has that just exposed a couple of weaknesses that you guys have been able to work on, or does it actually give you a little bit of, hey, I'm not sure how we're going to hold up against Bliss in a best of 5?
I think it's just experience that they don't have over us. I think like if we stomped Antic, I don't think we would have learnt as much as we did going through that tough series, and we had time to recover. And yeah, we learned from that experience, and hopefully it will show today if games go that long.
Yeah, if we try and break another record of 53-minute game there. Also, just talking about the jungle matchup too, you know, there's a lot of questions about how it's going to go for you guys, but how would you describe the jungle matchup between you and Why Not?
Jungle ego, probably describe it. That's the best way to describe it. I feel like he doesn't want to blind pick. I kind of he makes me feel like I don't want to blind pick because he cares so much about counter pick. So yeah.
Yeah, that's actually fair. I never really thought about that one. So, but I will give it over to Skimmy. I know he has some questions.
Yeah, well, Sean, good luck obviously tonight for the first best of 5 and a chance to make it to the PCS playoffs. I suppose I really want to kind of continue from Nat's point there. Where do you see this one going in the jungle, more so from a priority and tempo standpoint? Both you and Wynot have shown that you're keen to play the facilitators, the carries, the full clearers. So, yeah, counter picks aside, is there going to be a clear objective where you want to be the starter show like the Talir or the Brand, or very much there to make sure that your laners are covered?
I think it will depend on the first game and how that goes. I think under pressure, when we are so like closely matched on paper, I don't think it's the same. I think when you say everyone can play everything, that's because you're versing noobs. But when you're versing someone very closely matched, I think under pressure you go with what you're really, really comfortable with. And that's what you'll see game 1, whether we lose or they lose. I think there'll always be an adaptation, and that's why best of 5 is super interesting from a strategic standpoint.
Yeah, perfect. Good answer.
And Max?
I mean, speaking of adaptations, Lemus did tweet that you guys have only prepped Smolder draft for today. I did kind of want to get your perspective a little bit on prep, because we heard it previously from Bio that kind of zombie scrims have been going on. Is that something you guys have been doing?
Can you explain what that is real quick? What is zombie scrims?
So like just a team of pros coming back together, like a random team that you guys are scrimming to get some form of warm up in before the series today.
Oh no, don't need warm up. We got our warm up here.
Oh yeah.
2 days ago. That was well enough of practice. And
perfect. 54 minutes carried you through.
Yeah, exactly. And as towards like just the match in general, I just think that, you know, when it comes down to it, it's either us or them. And I think whoever wins this series doesn't necessarily beat Antic. So it's a very, very important series to win.
Cool.
Shamai, thank you so much for the interview. It was great to get to talk to you, and good luck today.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you. Damn, Sean's giving me a lot of food for thought. Let me put it that way.
Yeah, he said it was warm.
Yeah. First of all, that already intrigues me. And then it's like, okay, if they haven't been screwing the same way Bliss have, what's going to happen there? And then also about these matchups, the strategic aspect of best of 5. There's a lot, okay? And we're going to chuck some more information at you guys, because we're going to pull up some of the stats on the last time that these two faced up against each other. Like we already said, it was that 14.1B hotfix patch that they played on, and so Ground Zero winning game number 1 for themselves. They had that corky, and then in game number 2, Bliss able to fight back and make some great adjustments and play their style of game, Skimmy, and win game number 2.
Yeah, certainly right there, Nat. I mean, you can see it's a fairly close affair, given that the KDAs are definitely in the lower portion, right? And it does definitely lend that idea that, you know, we're expecting it to go to the full 5-game extent. You can obviously see that Violet popped off a little bit harder than everybody else, but that sort of has been that names that we've seen, right? That bot lane, be it by 15 minutes, he's always got such a strong lead. So I'm really curious to sort of see how it does get approached, because from a damage share point of view, they are very similar in that regard as well, kind of leading from that point of what Schönfire mentioned. They can carry, they can facilitate, they can do whatever is required. And if you even look at their stat comparisons, first and second in pretty much every category, incredibly close in terms of their objective control and sort of their sort of, drive to success, if you will.
That is actually so impressive that where Bliss aren't first, that's exactly where Ground Zero are. I don't think numbers could explain just how close and potentially similar these two teams are, Max.
Well, yeah, that's kind of the profile that we're getting here. I think the only variance that you're kind of seeing is the top jungle from Ground Zero doing a little bit more of the damage, but overall, we kind of wanted to establish the keys for victory for these two teams here. Now, on the side of Team Bliss, Skimmy, you mentioned a 12.6 KDA. As a top laner, that's almost unheard of, right? Absolutely huge. He credits it to being, you know, in some of the best form of his career, as well as being able to play this K'Sante in a lot of games here. Violet as well, absolutely dominant towards that bot lane. Whereas Ground Zero, they have a lot of pocket picks that they're willing to bring out, Skimmy.
They certainly do, right? You obviously got the classic of the Ben v Heimerdinger. We saw the Draven the other night getting played into the Smolder from Lemus, and we know that Tien is also a very proficient Riven, whilst we've seen a fair bit of Riven in recent times. The draft flexibility too, Hui only being played by Kisse in that mid lane, where otherwise we've seen it only in that bot lane between these two supports of Scott and Benvi. So I think there is a fair degree of flexibility that Ground Zero could look to try and capitalize on, and it may come into effect given that Bliss have gone for red side.
Yeah, that's exactly it, right? We talked about what these pocket picks could be. That's sort of something that led to quite a big success for them the last time they matched up. And then we just heard there in Shen's interview as well, like how important these counter picks are seen by at least Winer or the side of Bliss. And so that's pretty much the reasons as to why we are seeing Bliss, the higher seed, picking up red side for themselves, Max.
Well, that's so weird, and it's so interesting to me as well, the fact that they're placing so much emphasis on the jungle 1v1. You speak to a lot of junglers, and they're kind of like, I mean, yes, it matters to an extent, but I think you'd much rather, and it's more impactful to have a really strong solo lane or perhaps bot lane counter pick. So it really does speak to the unique styles of both of these teams, and I think that because both junglers have shown this tendency and this ability to be able to carry, being able to either nullify that or amplify it for your own team could really be a key to success.
A lot of eyes then on jungle. We also quickly went through. You guys can put !Discord in chat if you want to join our Discord and have a say in the fan vote that's happening over there. Or if you just want to have your say already where you are in Twitch chat, you can go up there in the top right-hand corner above Max. Use the Twitch channel points to tell us who's going to be taking game number 1. Is it Bliss? Is it going to be Ground Zero? Either way, across the board, even when we had our experts come in earlier and give us their predictions, we all think at the end of the day it's going to be a Bliss victory, but Ground Zero definitely have what it takes to at least be taking this to a minimum of 4 games. That's what we think, and maybe even potentially a 5th game skin.
Yeah, look, I think honestly it's incredibly close. It really could go to a 4-5 game series, but there's a part of me that thinks that the sides will flip around and Ground Zero will get something that they're really, really comfortable on, or that very first game, right, as Schoenfire mentioned, could certainly go either way. But I feel like when push comes to shove, I feel like Bliss just have a little bit more certainty under their belt, a little bit more comfort to really drive the momentum in their own way. So, look, yeah, I think 3-1. It's kind of funny that we've all gone for the same result, given that all our points are now shared and we're back square even.
Yeah, we could cross the finish line together potentially, but either way, a lot of emphasis on jungle, a lot of emphasis on game number 1. I think this is going to be potentially the best chance Ground Zero have of taking a game. So let's see what they bring out for themselves, because Champ Select is ready.
Thank you very much, then. Let's then jump into our first best of 5 of this year's playoffs here, Max. Let's see what Ground Zero decide to lock in as a first pick priority, with a lot of those respect bans that we mentioned already taken away.
Where's the Smolder ban, Skimmy? Team Bliss have loaded onto the red side, deliberately not banned away Smolder, and what that says to me is that they have something prepped. This team is very willing to do hours in draft, and that is exactly what you will see there. They're gone for the Lucian. So idea here being, yes, Smolder is a fantastic champion scaling, but Lucian Nami is going to kill it so many times in lane that we won't even get to see that.
Well, that seems to be a consideration, right? We've seen a couple of different approaches to shutting that champion down. We even had a segment the other day about some of the things that we think would be pretty strong into it. And a lot of these teams in the playoffs certainly have said, you know what, red side, we'll just go for that Smolder tax ban. But given that they've actually shown right at the gates that they're not afraid of it, does look to try and put this game on a bit of a knife's edge.
I just love it though, the Vi as well to lock it down instantly, and the response is going to come out from Ground Zero here being the Tahm Kench. So really strong pick into Vi, given you're able to devour her out of that cease and desist. And also the laning phase is the kind of exploitable part of this Tahm Kench, depending on whether he goes for the Comet or the standard Guardian build will remain to be seen, but Team Bliss here. No real question mark. I mean, the only big question that you really have is whether it's going to be Emilio or Nami paired with it, and so far it's going to be this Nami. A lot of explosive power, and so far, Skippy, we really haven't seen a team be able to shut down Smolder in laning phase. It really has seemed like it's gone to the mid game, you know, quite unimpeded, but if there's any bot lane that can do it, it's going to be Violet and Scott.
Well, you would certainly hope so. You mentioned, and we saw before, the stats for Violet and just how strong he is in the entire league, not just for his own lane, but for the entire league. He loves to be aggressive, he loves to get a lead, and he loves to look to try and pressure that on the rest of the map so the rest of his team gets to flourish. So I'm quite curious then to see what the response will be, because they're going to bat away the Akali and away from the side of Ground Zero, not taking any chances with that champion being sniped off even easier, whereas for Bliss it's a case of let's try to deny those jungle options, be it the Zen as well as the Udyr.
And this is interesting. Team Bliss are actually going to opt to give Biopanther the counter pick in this draft. They'll lock the Talia, say, okay, we're pretty happy with Hayri on this one, given the CC that he has coming out of the Vi to enable him to hit those combos and really create some spot for their top laner, who really has been running the league in terms of KDA. Now, looking at the ban list, even in the first phase, you can see the Ground Zero were looking to kind of restrict his champion pool, taking away the Cassante and the Ornn, which he has looked so proficient on. And now how does Ground Zero respond? It's going to be the Nocturne, adding to the engage potential in the chaos and teamfights that it can cause. But now what does TN blind pick? This is a guy who hasn't really had the most stable split, right? We have seen him fall down even towards the lower tier teams. And it's going to be a Gwen blind pick here.
That it certainly is. Gwen, the first time he'd be playing at this split, but certainly a fierce champion that he's used to great success in the past. And now Biopanther, with that Champion Ocean, gets all the time in the world to consider, how do I want to shut this champion down? How do I want to retain that phenomenal KDA and lead our team to victory? It's going to be the Jackson. You can see smiles exchange between both top laners as they're in for a bit of a brawl up top.
I love it. I love Bliss coming out here in game one, putting Biopanther on a carry. Jaxi is probably one of his most played and most successful carry picks, actually. He's looked really good on the champion, being able to scale into the late game as well as doing well in the laning phase. Now, 1v1, obviously Jax has always been a counter pick to Gwen because he's able to jump on her and he's one of the few champions that can actually beat her in an extended altercation. Comp-wise, it's not the greatest. I mean, you're fine playing into something like the Nocturne, but the Azir can make your life a little bit harder, and the Tahm Kench as well in team fights. But overall, Bliss, they've got a pushing bot lane. They should have a pushing top lane. Really going to enable Why Not to get active on this map.
And that was one of the keys to success that was going to be really shared between both these teams, right? Name, bit, priority. Who can get to try and deploy themselves first bit to an objective? Or to even look for a skirmish, right? How many times have we seen the likes of Tien and Biopanther push out their wave, then just either roam into the jungle to try and make the jungler's life a bit of a living misery, or even go to mid and say, let's threaten a gank as well. So with those pushing lanes that you highlight, certainly could be the way they get into a strong position by 15 minutes.
Yeah, be definitely looking to do that. Ground Zero have the scaling in their hands, really, with this Azir, Gwen, and Smolder coming online. Really, almost three of the best champions you could have in their roles. The question is, though, can they stand up to Team Bliss's early game aggression? We saw from the stats early on, they're very similar in both emphasis on dragons, emphasis on first turrets. They really are neck and neck in every aspect. But these two drafts have two different ways that they want to approach this game.
They certainly do, and I think in terms of approaching it for the side of Ground Zero, given those scaling conditions, it's about making sure that you don't fall too far behind, or at least keep it even in the early game by finding some good picks. And I think Venvi's been pretty renowned for that, with some impeccable recalls back to base, and then beelines it straight through mid, sees what he can find, or links up with Schoenfire to try and cause a little bit of chaos, be it a summoner being burnt or even a potential kill going their way. So I think if that can be matched by Scott, who is an old teammate, knows this bot lane very well, having been a sub for them, those tendencies could be exploited to give them that edge.
Yeah, and the problem here for me, Skimmy, is how do you actually respond as Ground Zero in this early game? I'm just thinking about the way that the game's going to flow, and obviously you're going to have that Lucian Nami pushing in the bot lane. Talia as well is going to be pretty freed up, and what makes the matters worse about mid lane priority is the jungle matchup early. Nocturne, we saw it yesterday from Reeve Fury, right? Not the best champion at actually applying pressure pre-level 6 to a lane here, so Harry's going to be able to go about the laning phase pretty unimpeded. And that is a very scary prospect, because not only are you going to have the Lucian Nami pushing into your turret as the Smolder, you're going to be having a Vi Talia down there as well.
It's going to be a scary prospect either way, Max, but what we have right now is a best of 5 and our first chance here in the upper bracket to decide which team will be sending over to Taiwan to represent the region abroad. It's a big, big option and a massive opportunity for them to showcase just how good our region can be. But it all starts here with the level 1. And we'll see if anything goes awry.
I would be very surprised to see so. I think neither team has a very good level 1 composition. You could argue the Team Bliss with its Leah and Lucian Nami could potentially go in. But I think, honestly, the summoner spells and rune choices across the board are something to discuss, because Lemus has gone for the teleport here. So not a combat summon, going to be very vulnerable to this Lucian Nami without an exhaust or a heal to come through. Instead, opting to be able to get back to lane fast, almost anticipating the fact that he's going to be getting traded on very aggressively and valuing getting back to lane. And on the opposite side of the map, in the top lane, Tien gone for the Ignite TP here on Gwen. This is something you always do into the Jax matchup, because you really do need to threaten that 1v1. You need to be able to put the damage onto him in order to get wave control, because or else he will just fight you. So definitely looking to top lane to be some action, but so far, Lemus and Benvi doing a nice job here. That you can see the Smolder Achu getting so much value from that W. But Lucian Nami, once again, will secure the priority.
Well, they certainly should do. As you can see, Scott, they're going to try and really gain control of that bush nice and early. But I think it's an interesting point you raised, right, with the adaptation for the double TP. And in terms of both champions, certainly would love to have Ghost online for the uptime for their damage to really go crazy once those team fights become the main focus. But we've seen more and more teams now lean towards a triple TP setup. And maybe that is the punishment to make sure that the Smolder doesn't run away with it, at least in that 2v2 sense.
Yeah, for the time being, though, Tien just going to drop that preemptive ward figure out the one is not pathing towards him. Gonna dash in here. He's level 3 to level 2 though, so the trade won't be too bad back. And this is really why the Ignite's so important here, because in a lot of matchups, if you don't take this Ignite, Biopanther could just fight you really on the wave, especially if he starts with the Doran's Blade. But he has gone with this shield and fleet footwork setup. Something we've been seeing a lot more Jaxes lean towards really as their rune of preference. Synergizes both well in the sense that it gives you that sustain on in the early game to be able to, survive some of your rougher laning matchups. But also can work quite nicely in terms of being able to close the distance. When you have like an E, you can auto attack a creep, get that extra burst of movement speed, and get towards a minion there. But for the time being, just going to be the wave crashed here. TN most likely going to get a little cheater recall, and top lane returns to normal.
Yeah, it's a good point. As you mentioned, we've seen it more and more with them leaning against the likes of a Grasp or a Lethal Tempo. Certainly a happy hybrid medium. Allows them to get all the luxury that they're after either way. Bot lane still, as you'd imagine, would be them. Looking to try and be sneaky, feign a cheeky little aqua person, but Benvi, ignorant or not, just walks in and simply dodges it. And won't fall victim to a first blood just yet. Why not though? Going to get a little bit aggressive, plant a bit of a wall there in the enemy side as Aerie looked to try and get aggressive with that seismic shove and potentially threaten a kill.
Very dangerous there for Kisei in the mid lane. Does have the dash to be able to get out of that sticky situation. And both junglers will match their resets after full clearing now. Why not has opted for this Doran's Blade, so a nice little adaptation to provide yourself with one of the most effective early game items in terms of your skirmishing power. But because he looked for that little play in the mid lane, Shernfire will be able to walk up and drop the ward on the enemy Raptors. So I mean, he already should have a decent idea of when that's respawning, but now we'll be able to have that visually confirmed. As you can see throughout this entire game, both junglers doing a very nice job of tracking one another. So far, none of that priority has really come to hurt Ground Zero, but it's once those resets start coming through, particularly in the bot lane, that we could be expecting something.
But that's exactly right, because it still seems like such a gamble to say, we'll let you have that smarted deliberately from that red side and give Biopanther the counter pick as a result right now as well. And I think, honestly, if it works in their favor, it sends a bit of a statement that you can have this champion that you've looked so good on and actually got a penta with, but if we can beat it and make it look pretty irrelevant, I think you start to second guess all your drafting.
Absolutely, and that can just be in terms of the mental edge that you acquire really damaging in such an extended series, because it is a champion that they have prioritized above everything else multiple games in a row now. So taking away their certainty that that will bring them a win can put yourself in good stead. Now, there's a lot of wards here spotting Shernfire out on the bot side of the map. He will know the grubs are going over right now. This should open up an opportunity to go for the dragon, but why not actually just beelining straight down here? Has Harry in the area, but Kisei.
Fantastic flash there as Kisei looks for the scoop. Escorted by two members in the area with Benvi on that roam, as we mentioned. It's going to be beautifully matched there by Harry, dodging out with the protection of Why Not 2. They avoid any chaos of Ground Zero's choosing.
Yeah, big reaction from Harry to avoid going down from first blood. Kisei just ticks 6 first, goes in straight away with his support and jungle in the area. And that will be burning the flash. So this is really important versus Taliyah in the Taliyah-Azir matchup, right? Gives Azir the opportunity, once that Emperor's Divide does come back off cooldown, to really start getting active once again. As you can see, Benvi returning to the bot lane here. Wave is slightly pushed against them. And Why Not is in the area, so they just want to get this wave in as quickly as possible. Go perhaps water him, take a reset, and allow themselves a little bit more safety. Now, we harp on and on about scaling comps and wanting to keep the game nice and calm. But so far, it has really been going in their favor. Only 500, 400 really separating the two teams here.
Yeah, certainly. It's a case of them wanting to obviously get those level 6s online as quickly as they can for the likes of the Azir to make moves, as we just saw, as well as Shernfire, obviously, to deploy on the map and try and target a key area to get them ahead. Obviously, a lot of volatile lanes that he could look to try and lend his hand towards, and top lane certainly isn't no forgotten area, as he will be actually going for a steal onto Why Not's red buff, with him actually going back to base for a reset of his own. It's a bit of a good timing, great movement, and solid punish.
Really nice there, because Why Not did show on that pink ward in the mid lane. Allows Shernfire the time to go and equalize the level 6 disparity. Now, top lane, you can see the trading was going in favor of TN, but he has used the TP, right? That is still available for Biopanther if he wants to use it. And he may just be forced to here. You can see Shernfire in the area. The Paranoia definitely online and available to be used. He needs to hover by TN rather to be able to crash this wave in, because Why Not's in the area, and this is a Gwen with no flash, keep in mind.
Yeah, both are looking. Both are going to try and bait each other as the lights go out. One is going to jump on in and go for the flash and get the kill, but it's beaten by Tien, who claims the first blood bounty. And now Schönfire, with all that extra attack speed, flashes to say we will gank first and we will just win.
There's the useful paranoia coming out of Schönfire. We knew that there was going to be a skirmish top lane, and Tien survives for just long enough off the why not flash to be able to pick up those double kills. Lethal tempo for Schönfire, really providing so much value off the back end of that fight that he can just run why not down. And 2 kills going over will completely equalize this game in 8 minutes.
Certainly is a phenomenal set of events there. Took a while, 30 seconds of them baiting one another, but ultimately the burst of a Gwen and Nocturne too much.
Well, that's the thing, right? You can see that Vi and Jax both have to commit everything to be able to kill Tien here. The Counter-Strike as well as the Vi Vault Breaker Flash. And that means that, yes, you do pick up the kill, but then suddenly a Nocturne is on top of you and you have nothing to be able to fight back with. So just a nice little 2v2 coming out from the side of Ground Zero is hold on Violet in the bot lane.
Yeah, going to be an exchange of ultimates used by both AD carries, but nothing really defined of it, because for Bliss it was a case of simply pushing away, forcing the crash, and getting himself back to base for yet another item purchase. As for Violet, a little bit of an opportunity to try and make sure that nothing more were to come of it. But it will be Bliss to pick up the first dragon as a result of that gank in topside. And certainly is a bit of a difference maker, right? Kills versus objectives.
Well, I think especially with this bot lane, it's really hard to actually get anything done for the side of Ground Zero. Smolder Tum will very rarely have priority as Schönfire just walks straight over a ward. He'll spot it eventually and go back to clean it up. Why not looking on him?
Might just be all he does for the meantime as he protects that control ward, so that's going to regenerate quite nicely, and Schönfire is going to get bullied away. The Scuttler looked at, but then getting juked away from as you saw a bit of aggression and potential movement from both bot laners.
Well, I think that's what's really scared Schönfire off of that play, is the fact that Team Bliss's bot lane could be first to it, and you certainly don't want to be skirmishing around that Lucian Nami early on if you can prevent it. Now, question is how these next grubs are going to go. We saw one have picked up all 3 of the first ones. And Schönfire here will skip his camps to be able to pick these up. Now, Bipanther dropped a ward on the blue. The fact that he's not showing on this kind of does give an indication that he's starting these up. And they've brought Benvi up as well. He'll now walk back as he realizes that his Smolder might be under threat. But it'll buy just enough time for Schönfire to pick up at least 1, maybe 2, maybe 3 of these grubs.
Yeah, it certainly looks like the denial of those Void Mites that Bliss may have been hoping to achieve is to be the outcome. So 3 apiece then, as it's going to be Violet that actually gets the first fully completed item with the Storm Razor done at 10.5 minutes. Certainly where you want your Lucian to be. Strong, stable early game. Exerts that pressure that Lucian is renowned for. And you'd really be hoping that Scott isn't too far away with that Imperial Mandate right after. And that point, really, your damage just goes skyrocket.
Oh, it's nuclear. Lemus is going to have a very hard time actually laning, because even if you do have a Devour, the fact that this damage can come out so quickly means that it'll just be little short trades that will end up winning you out of lane. As Tien in the top lane here, looking aggressive on Bio.
He is actually going to pop the ultimate, and then once again, the paranoia comes out, and Shen in a lot of aggression is find the kill, which they cannot get onto Biopanther. Too slippery. As the Jax, the flash, the wood hop, and the baited attempt there, which opens the door for why not to be aggressive bot side as they look for Lemus and force out his own flash. He can summon the ultimate, clear the wave, and prevent the dive. It all comes from Benvi's roam.
And the crucial thing here, Skimmy, is Lemus still has the TP, so he can just use that, pop that summon spell and get right back into the lane. There is a why not in the area, but keep in mind Benvi will have the Devour. If the TP comes through, there is a chance that he just gets bubbled and aqua prisoned and 100 to 0'd. So you can see he's deliberating this right now. Doesn't want to cast the TP. There it is. Can they defend it? And it looks like the answer is yes.
It seems to be the case. There is no Nocturne up, but he is in the area to make sure it will be that straight 3v3. And Harry looking to try and lock down Kisei as well to make sure that nobody else leaves lane for a second to engage the potential all-out brawl. They look to try and turn their attention onto Why Not, who says, you know what, fair enough, I will get bullied out of that. And will retreat back inside the river. And whilst yeah, only has been 3 kills in only 12 minutes, you've seen that they're not shy of looking for those opportunities.
No, and control wards have kind of become a pseudo-objective here. Why Not earlier defending his in the river, and both Kisei and Schönfire running up to defend their vision as well. So either team really looking for an opportunity to get into a fight. You think Ground Zero around their top side is really where they would like to be taking those. As for Team Bliss, it is this bot lane. Essence Reaver has been completed for Lemus, but definitely Nowhere near as strong of a spike. Lucian just so powerful with this Nami behind him. But so far, not really able to find too much success, Skimmy. It's about 10 CS that will be the lead, all things said and done. Yes, you got that dragon, but really you'd be hoping to snowball this Lucian Nami more. And if you're ground zero, you're pretty happy with how slow this game's going.
Absolutely, and it seems to be once again that curse of, Limus has been on the receiving end of it, saying, go for the Draven Ash and wait for the more pokey, aggressive angle, but never really got a chance to utilize it to its full strength. The Imperial Mandate has now been picked up, and with the tier 2 boots done for Violet as well, they've got those double combat summoners in the bot lane. Surely now would be the ideal time to up the ante and get a bit more aggressive, as you can see that Panther will continue to command a fair bit of respect from Shern to make sure that TN does get ahead, and if they spot that, expect the all-in bot.
There was just a classic TN performance here. You can see he's gotten 2 turret plays for him up in that top lane. This is really where his lane dominance is coming into effect. So he'll base now and pick up the Riftmaker. So this is kind of the more bruiser-oriented option for Gwen. Nash's Tooth has been something that she wants to work towards as well. But here allows that little bit extra survivability in case, you take a Vi ultimate, you're in these extended skirmishes. You'll be feeling pretty good about that. But now the Infernal Dragon spawning, 4 members of either team are in the area. And you can actually see the way Panther's walking back to lane that he may try to hover down here as well.
But he may do. We'll have that TP advantage and may look to try and entertain a fight before he TPs up to protect the wave that Tien will be looking to try and crash. How many more plates can he get as a result of this deliberation? Because halfway down that mid lane, he says, you know what, I will just return to top instead. So visual control will be cleared out back in Team Bliss's favor. And with the inline track to look at that dragon, no doubt will be the ones to try and invite Ground Zero for that fight. But nobody willing to engage on spawn.
Yeah, no, not even despite that Panther move, the Team Bliss feel confident enough to actually start that. They've got every single summoner on those 4 members, not including Bio. So do have a lot of combat power if they choose. Now, with mid lane freed up here, Harry will be hovering down. This Vitalia can definitely lock down and one-shot somebody. But as for now, it will just be a bit of a standoff. Why not ultimately, with that bot lane priority, walking and starting out the dragon. But this is on Vision, and both top laners have TPs.
It is on Vision here, so they read the play beautifully of making sure that Why Not wasn't going to be able to sneak that one in for a gank in the mid lane before the fight broke out for a nice little pick. A little bit of harass from Lemus as he looks to try and find his way. So the tidal wave goes out, the lights turn off. And for the meantime, Schönfire saying this is not to ult, this is just to guarantee the objective goes our way. It certainly seems to be that case right now, so he picks it up to make a 1-for-1. Call the mummy and summon it on through to get that kill into the enemy jungler and send him down for 20 seconds and really limit the impact of this Lucian and Nami. Benvi holds on for dear life with the thick skin coming in clutch as Bio rocks up, but he falls down in a heartbeat there. Kisei too strong from afar, but it is a double fanned by Violet. So it's not all doom and gloom after all.
I mean, Skimmy, how much more even can this game get? The Dragon goes over to Ground Zero, yes, but both teams lose their top laner and jungle off the back of it. The quicker TP and quicker decisiveness really from Ground Zero to collapse upon Why Not nets them the initial kill. But on the back end, hey, we're using a really nice Weaver's Wall to box the rest of Ground Zero in. As we can take a look once again at how this starts here. So you can see Team Bliss not really wanting to fully commit onto the Dragon. They think they can pick off Benvi. But the second that Paranoia is pops, the TP comes out. They are more than willing to re-engage on this blue side here. You can see a really nice time KenW finding Why Not and taking him out quickly. But it's this back end here, really. Tian's a little bit out of position. They see Kisei's zoned off as well, and that gives them the confidence to run back in. Vile just free hitting on the back line. Lemus tries to trade back, but it's really Kisei on this Azir who's able to find the damage and net them that kill. And Skimmy, despite all that fighting, both teams tied on 2,700 gold.
That they certainly are. You couldn't write a better pre-game in terms of looking at their stats, their breakdown, their keys to success. They really are incredibly even on their day. Any of these teams can look to try and win the LCO right now. So they do go for that classic combo on towards Tien, and he's just removed from the map. Down to 30 seconds. Once again, Nocturne looking for the ultimate. He goes to just try and steal the Herald, but it's not going to be successful. The Empress Divide shoves back 2, but they're not winning the fight just yet. It's going to be 2 fanned by Kisei as he's still so strong and healthy. And Bio with a flash already burnt. Waits for the cooldown and leaps back in with that counter strike. It's going to be an extended trade. It's going to be Kisei that gets a quadra kill. And with no more HP, he can't hunt for the Penta, as Harry will concede that the Smolder is too much.
This is the game we were hoping for, Skimmy. A massive fight straight off the back of another one. This time it's going to be the objective going in favor of Team Bliss. Once again, 4 kills traded, but let's take a look at how it starts. Tien gets collapsed upon here. Benvi tries to devour him over the wall, but the terrain is too thick. He can't find the angle, and that means that Gwen isolated goes down. However, Ground Zero, they know that Talia isn't here. She still has to run up the river, and Kisei, with a fantastic scoop onto 3 people, starts off his quadra kill.
I mean, quite honestly, it's becoming a bit of a mid-gap at this point, right? Yes, Henry's been putting in the blinder, but he's a 004 Talia at this point. But you look at Kisei, a late-game powerhouse. To get a quadra kill this early and to already be, what, 5-1? Terrifying prospect.
This is scary as it, but I'll tell you who's also 5-1. It's Violet, who does go down there, but ultimately will still be in a very strong position here. Has an army to back him up, and is really now taking the strides we would be hoping to see from this combo early on. As we kind of take a moment to readjust from the chaos, we see the lane matchups have kind of returned to normal here, with the exception of both bot lanes being flipped to mid, and there is that Lucian army damage.
Yeah, that's the indication of the damage that can be found, right, that you've seen time and time again all over the years, right, with the first strike, Nami buff, and the rapid fire cannon. You just dash at somebody in the lane, and they do not expect that burst.
No, they don't here, and they might not expect this play here onto the bot lane either. Schönfire is in the area, and it will get spotted on a control ward, but Kisei is still all by himself.
You see the focus right now, once again, Nocturne to protect him as he goes golden and denies that initial Vi ultimate. Why not looking to try and get himself out of harm's way, and actually survives, be it a very clutch heal by Scott and some fancy juggling of the aggro too, but no, Kisei! You feel like he's safe, but he gets flipped back, and the battle between the two 5-1 carries, well now, Violet has got 7.
Oh, he just got overconfident there, Kisei. He used the E while still being on the Talia work ground, and that means that he will be stunned. Buys the crucial time for that flip to come through, like you said. And another kill going over to Violet there. So really a heads-up play from Team Bliss. They get the chunk on mid lane. This motivates him to come down towards the bot lane. And Schönfire is here. Yes, he is, but he's a very squishy Nocturne. So while Kisei is golden, he just falls down. And here is really where it goes bad. You can see the Talia E just laid out at the time he dashes. That kills him there, and Benvi is not able to get the Devourer across. So finally, we get a little bit of separation here. And you can see Violet, he knows his fate. He's just dashing in every time he has the cooldown. And we'll take a look at the gold once again. There he is, 1,500 ahead of Kisei.
What the experiment was, can we shut this Smolder down or not? It's certainly proving to be successful so far. Up by 1,000 at the moment, and with this Herald crashing in the mid, soon to be a little bit more if they can get some extra pressure as a result of this one. It is going to force Ground Zero to match them, but for the meantime, they're going to say, well, you've done your one little push, we can sit to these side lanes and force you to respond to us instead. This does open the floor, though, for Violet to continue to do things just like this, with Why Not having his ultimate up in about 15 seconds. They may just pursue and wait for this tier 1 to crash.
Well, this dragon should be completely there. As you can see with Lemus being really confined to reactive wave clear duty, he can never walk up against this Violet and Scott combo. So for the time being, you can see Ground Zero, they're actually transitioning their attention towards the top lane here, wanting to put some pressure on this tier 2 turret. For the time being, Tien just shoving waves into Bio Panther, but the trap's been set on mid lane. They're not actually hitting the dragon. Perhaps seeing if they can get any more kills off the back of this.
Well, it does very much seem that they're going to be stubborn in their pursuit to use that item advantage that Violet possesses right now. And certainly Harry, despite looking like a support with the KDA, is very tanky himself, right, with the completed Archangels, making the Seraph's Embrace, as well as the Banshee's Veil. It'll be very hard to try and shut him down in these extended fights that we've come to expect so far and so early on. But I do like the response from Ground Zero, right? Don't entertain the idea of that 4-5v5. Try to force him to attend these side lanes and make sure that we become stronger as well.
That's the thing, Tien, you know, despite being in a counter-pick matchup, has really been the one who has pushed on these side lanes into Biopanther. That is definitely a point of power that you can play around. I think mid lane is really where they're going to have to respond, as the Dragon's picked up here by Schönfire. The big problem is that any time Violet and Scott are on mid lane, how do you actually walk up? As it's so hard as the Smolder to actually be within distance, especially now the RFC and IE are both online here. So this Lucian, even if he just dashes forward, taps you twice, is basically going to be half healthing you. And now they're just going to bait Ground Zero, and then they're going to start up this Baron.
I think really the saving grace I'm sure a lot of players are happy about is that Gale Force is no longer a part of this combo that Lucian has online, right? Because that really was the icing on the cake, which made it ever so annoying to try and deal with. With that removed, they still will bear the brunt of a lot of damage going their way, and Tien can say, I've become immune for a second, but even then, He got tickled, and even he feels like he needs to go back to base.
Yeah, I think Team Bliss were trying to get a TP out there, so really nice by Ground Zero to hold their resolve, acknowledge that, okay, these 4 members can just stop the Baron, and TN will walk up, throw out that needlework, and run away, saying his job is done. But yeah, as this game goes later, it really does. You can see Bliss, they want to start something now. They want to find a way to put all these items they have on Violet to use. But so far, Ground Zero doing a really nice job of responding. Smolder in particular, you know, despite not being able to really match up against a solution in that 2v2, definitely can wave clear incredibly well, even from range with that mum like we've seen used, and has the TP as well to defend that turret. So the fact that it doesn't go down to that Rift Herald attempt that we saw earlier, actually quite important here.
The concern that I'll raise though, Max, is the fact that we're at 23 minutes, the gold is still yet dead even, and Lemus has 216 stacks. So another wave, he gets that mini execute. The burn lasts, what, 6 seconds? So he's just farming Pentas for free. I don't know, despite Violet being this strong, if Bliss has done enough.
Well, that's what you'd hope, and you can see Team Bliss with the way that they're posturing towards the Baron might just look to start this up again once they clear out the vision now. There is that little Rift Scuttler that will give the awareness over to Ground Zero, and that might be enough to dissuade them for the time being. But side lane's really firmly in the control of Ground Zero. You can see Tien here on the bot side of the map pushing this wave up, demanding the attention of Hayri. And it really has been feeling like this little back and forth. Neither team really able to accomplish too much in terms of either pushing turrets or getting on towards this Baron. Now Ground Zero will use this opportunity to clear the vision, re-establish themselves in the area. And it feels like the dance continues, but Benby... Oh.
Ooh, stepped up a little bit too far there to try and gain some vision control to make sure that they could have certainty over this Baron pit. But I do still love this play from Ground Zero to attend to his side lanes, force Bliss to respond, and really pounce upon the fact that we have a Nocturne that could force a numbers mismatch. Both junglers then decide to say, you know what, enough is enough, let's force a fight in the mid lane. Devour comes out nicely protecting Nemes as they hunt for the kill, but as Biden answers, started off first, they remove down Churnfire. Kirsay incredibly fed, answers back in swift pursuit, and then Tien, who is a very fed Gwen, gets locked in the Acro Prison, if not would have run riot and really shredded everybody down. Bio is just going to dodge out in that sneeze, and the Counter-Strike coming out at the clutch time to prevent that execute threshold.
Dangerous territory, as it's also for Benby here, but it's a tanky Tahm Kench, not going to fall down to this initial engage. And Ground Zero, yes, it's a 1-for-1, but they get barred. That's the important member there. It was a really nice little play that they cooked up there. Benby was able to get over, get the Devour onto Lemus, saving his Smolder. As we take a look once again, the engage goes out, but there's really a lot of tools to separate this fight. The Nocturne Paranoia comes in, and then everyone from Ground Zero dogpiling Violet. He doesn't have a chance here. Meanwhile, there's a Devour to save Lemus, get him back into the fight, and on this back end, plain and simple, the solo laners of Ground Zero just do way more damage. It's going to mean that this extended fight goes in the favor of Ground Zero. Now, Bio here looking awfully close to falling down, does manage to just pull through. But you can already see just the danger of a 225 stack Smolder. A late game Gwen and a late game Azir, as mid lane really is the focal point here for Team Bliss.
That's why we raised the question before, right? I mean, as strong as you are, the lion's share of that gold was in possession of Violet. And the rest of the team just aren't able to match when that fight breaks out. Once again, Lemus going to trim their wave using his ultimate to make sure that this tier 1 does survive. They're doing a phenomenal job at that, but they're not going to be surviving for much longer because Scott is going to concede himself in the process. The lights go out. The flanking TP results in 2 members of Ground Zero rocking up, and they've just got the advantage because look how good Kirsay is. He scoops back 2. He becomes a statue and gets rewarded with such a beautiful team fight victory. They've removed 3, and they've got Baron on their doorstep.
They don't need scrims, they're warm already, and that play really showing it there. Just a fantastic collapse, using the Paranoia to hide the TPs coming through. And with 3 kills already in pocket, they will take this Baron, but why not? He's in the area, he'll get the vision, has the smite, can he get the steal?
Would he dive? Would he jump in? Is it too early? Or is it too late? He's got the Baron steal! In what has been the most phenomenal turn of events this playoffs. Smite steal after smite steal. Churnfire now the one on the receiving end.
This time, why not? Saving the game there for Ground Zero. That really would have been the nail in the coffin. As we take a look once again at how this all breaks out here. Midwave is cleared. Paranoia popped nice and early. And look at the TPs coming through. Double TP actually here onto this ward in mid lane. Getting both Tien and Kirsay in prime position. So even though Violet escapes the initial engage, You cannot escape that Azir, and the perfect zone is as well to deny the kill going back over. A fantastically executed team fight for Ground Zero. Now, obviously, it will really hurt that they didn't get the Baron. But on the other hand, Team Bliss, I believe only 2 members got it, Scott and Harry, with that buff. So by no means is it the worst situation in the world here. Gold lead, yes, it will be slowed down a little bit, but soul point for Ground Zero.
That it certainly is, and I'm sure Team Bliss is going to be kicking themselves a little bit for giving across that other dragon, the third one, for 3 in favour of Ground Zero, because they've now put themselves in even more of a timer. And yes, still, it is Violet incredibly strong. He's now down 2 levels. You can see just how far ahead Limus is, and you're thinking, how have they found themselves in this position?
Well, I mean, look at the CS gap. That's really where it is. You can see Limus has essentially always been on waves because of the fact that he has TP, right? He's been ulting waves, he's been clearing them from range with his W, and now with his Q so far evolved, really is able to kind of one-shot those minions. So as the game goes on, it becomes ever harder for Team Bliss to actually get a foothold here. The mid lane tier 1 turret still standing. Yes, it's hanging on by a thread, but it is still there for the side of Ground Zero. And for a scaling comp to be up gold here at 28 minutes, up 2 dragons. Once again, Team Bliss feeling pressured, bringing almost every member here towards the mid lane.
Oh, Harry will have to be a bit of a secret agent right now. James Bond style, 007. He's the only one on their team right now that has a bounty. Yet to find a kill. Plenty of assists. And you can understand the theory behind their mid-jungle pairing, right? The guaranteed lockdown between the Vi ultimates and the seismic shove thereafter. But it's been very far and few between that combo has been able to land very successfully in their favor. Obviously, you can overlap it with a Nami as a redundancy, if you will, but they're struggling to find the answers here. And it really has a bit of a field day for the likes of Kissei and Tien, just to jump into the backline and really do as they please.
I think that's why this combo hasn't really been able to land, is the fact that these team fights are so chaotic, right? They've never really had an opportunity where Talia is able to get as far into the fight as Vi is without putting herself at risk of falling down here. So 15 seconds left on Baron. This will just be the dregs of that buff running out right now. And what did manage to equalize the gold hasn't really netted themselves too much in terms of turrets. That tier 1 in the mid lane will have finally fallen down. But it does open up quite a big portion of the map for Team Bliss. So as we hit the 30-minute mark, gold is completely even. And this game doesn't appear to be going away anytime soon.
It certainly doesn't, and God forbid we have another 50-minute affair where you and I are thinking, oh, we've got to do 5 games of this potentially, because there has been nothing to separate these two. Yes, you could say one member is fair than the other is also in that same category. And whilst these last few fights have definitely been Ground Zero favored, it sort of goes back to your early game point, right? The late game skilling of Ground Zero is simply phenomenal.
It's huge, and the thing that's kind of saving them here is the fact that Bard is so fed. Hold on, Tien.
Again, looking to be isolated on the flanking angle right now as he runs inside his immunity circle. Cops a devour too, then Churnfire jumps straight onto Scott, who's just Copsy tidal wave and says, "You will not kill me." The extended range of Mum is not enough to snipe anybody out, but Kisei goes golden and instantly flashes out that Nami bubble, which was spelt disaster. Bio jumps in, hits the one-man cannon strike. Can they kill anybody? And finally, the support is the one to fall. It's a phenomenal fight, and you're really expecting more blood.
Low health bars everywhere. Team Bliss, the victors of that one, but I think we're a little bit unafraid to chase more into the smolder with that execute available now. Really, that was a pretty big disaster for Ground Zero. Tien getting initially called off here on the side. Keep in mind this Gwen, as soon as she uses E, there's no mobility whatsoever to come out, and you can see they're very quick to capitalize on that. A nice devour to come through off the back end, but that leaves Churnfire in the middle of nowhere. Kisei as well off the back of that flash. Has to Zhonya's and immediately use the flash to get out of there. Bio jumping in, but look at all this damage coming through. Limus as well is untouched in this entire fight. So it'll only be Bendy who goes down.
Really were expecting more bloodshed in that one. With Churnfire to start things up. Wasn't able to get the one shot they was hoping for there onto Scott, as Harry looks to bully them away, force at the Sun Disc, as well as the TP too. So Tien's going to regroup up, and with the Baron not spawning for another 50 seconds, you have to imagine that these teams are still just hunting for fights. And as you mentioned the other day, Max, you know, the objective is fighting.
Yeah, Team Bliss here though, they have grouped up as 5. You can see they're really willing to use this death ball here as a Mum to clear out the mid wave. Whereas Ground Zero, they've been targeted on these side lanes. Azir has this alone time with the turret, but they don't want to allow it to be alone time for long.
Certainly do not want to, because it just opens up more and more avenues for the likes of Tien and even Kisei to a degree, just to threaten with those flanks. Kisei now may get punished based on the amount of mobility that Bliss have. They're going to flip him back, and that's the combo! The pairing of the Bliss mid-jungle finally showing its prowess.
The question is, Skimmy, can they get this soul in time? There's 4 seconds on the spawn. They have a lot of damage, but it's a 5v4. TP's coming through for Bio.
It's a risky TP as he jumps in instantly. He has the full-stack counter-strike. He stuns 2 members and realizes that his team is there to back him up. Out goes the culling, but Tien becomes immune. But they've done enough to bully GranZero out of that Dragon Pit and make sure that there will not be a soul point just yet. Another 5 minutes afforded to them. And a Baron that has spawned that they'll rush over to.
Yeah, it's just going to be the Baron going over as well here. You can see that GranZero, they will run out of base, but Benvi is really late on this recall. Tien as well, quite delayed. With the amount of DPS they have, I do imagine they're just going to be able to get this one down. Now, keep in mind, if this altercation does go on for long enough, there's 10 seconds on Kisei, and he has a TP.
There comes Mum giving Limus a helping hand and trying to go for the steal, but Schoenfeier's not successful this time. He instantly gets taken out of the picture, so all 5 members of Blitz are waiting for those lights to come back on and reveal that, yes, it is now a 5v4 with Kisei only now returning to the fight with that TP from the right-hand side. Out goes the tidal wave. Benvi misses a dive. The counter-strike prepped and ready, and Kisei looking for the scoop. He's got no flash, he's got no dash, he's simply gonna die! As the flash is failed by Violet, and that is catastrophic! Limus flashing into effect to find the first kill, but he instantly gets taken out of the picture by Harry. What a phenomenal time to find that second kill as he jumps out and makes it free. What an ace!
Yeah, the ace and the Baron for Team Bliss here. There are some really long death timers, and both solo laners are still alive here. I wonder if they're going to look. I don't think they can fully get the end, but they can certainly put a significant dent into the base of GranZero here. Why not there? Comes out victorious once again with the smite here. 2-0 now on these Barons. And that really is catastrophic. You could see GranZero, they were so disjointed because of that initial Azir death that they'd never had the amount of members there at the fight as Team Bliss. And that means they will eventually make mistakes. Limus finally manages to go down for the first time this game. And that will blow this game open. As you can see here, Schoenfeier dashes in by himself here to try to get the steal. Not able to find it. And look at this Limus. He kind of drooling at the thought of landing a Q here onto all of these members of Team Bliss. But ultimately they're grouping up. They're too scary, especially with Violet coming over that wall. And Kisei here really not able to find the play that he wants. Gets instantly collapsed upon by one. A really nice turn to tank out that flanking Azir. And then Limus. The Devour's already used onto Tien, who's almost one-shot there. So Limus, once he gets collapsed upon, will fall down. And with Smolder gone, Gwen just gets completely ran down. And the ace to come through for Team Bliss.
And it certainly does. Now we create a little bit of daylight between the teams as it's up by 4,500 now for Bliss, but one is going to go for the face shake, and that's not the one you want to go for. Thankfully, it's just a tongue lash that threatens him, so he can simply Justice Punch away. All things considered, for what was the only action that Kisei was able to provide, it was a pretty phenomenal weapons divide, forced him to be basically glitched stuck in that wall, making it very difficult for Violet to even move or hit that flash thereafter. But with 40 seconds left in this Baron and having already achieved nearly 5,000 gold with it, they're looking to find even more success. Now up by 6 towers to 4. Dragon is there to clear this wave. 2 cannons still persevere though, and instantly they then fall on down. And everybody here in the bot lane, as they really want to make sure that GranZero aren't able to split push anymore.
Well, now is really the time where Team Bliss need to be pushing these turrets. You can see 17 seconds here left on this Baron, as they will look to crack this tier 2 turret. They should be able to get it, because even though the Azir and Smolder have fantastic wave clear against the Baron, against this Lucian now, completely full build, it is so hard to actually walk up. Hayri too, who's really been the quiet achiever, sitting practically at a full build himself. But now with this Baron buff time, that is very hard to continue to siege into all the wave clear of GranZero.
Certainly is. You can see all 3 waves beautifully prepped in favor of Bliss. If they were able to find a pick, they certainly could have taken more than just an inhibitor. They could have potentially threatened the end. Given that respawn time is at this point, certainly are 40 seconds and counting. It's put a bit of a halt to the pressure that GranZero had managed to achieve for what felt like the first 25 minutes with a scaling comp that was simply keeping even in pace. But now they're going to be all in on this next objective, which is up in a minute, and it's a chance for them to then get that Kentech Drake, which is probably the ideal soul to get given the current state of this game.
Yeah, it absolutely is, right? So much value in these extended team fights where everybody's dropping to low HP. But the question is, if you're GranZero, do you actually want to contest this? Yes, it would be the soul, But at the same time, it's not an Elder. You're not really going to cry if it does go over. As you can see, they've reverted to this death ball strategy as well. Side lane's a distant afterthought at this stage in the game. Really is about whoever gets that first move. And so far, that'll be Ground Zero. All 5 members are poised and ready. Whereas Biopanther has just come off a reset here. So they'll be able to get the first little move here into the bot side river. Tien, though, is very far zoned off. If they do manage to pick him off, that could be huge. But fine, I mean, look at that damage just from 2 autos.
Yeah, it's pretty brutal. It's certainly enough to make sure the SWAT doesn't get any chance to utilize that dot burn, execute damage. All grouped up, holding hands together here, waiting for the moment to strike, and looking to try and force an invitation as Violet says, you know what, the dash is up and ready. Let's be relentless in our pursuit of this kill. They summon the Weaver's Wall, they zone them out, they utilize their burst, and they snipe yet another dragon in consecutive attempts. 3 apiece now, as the Soul Point is delayed yet another 5 minutes.
Yeah, I'm surprised Ground Zero didn't just look for the push there. You could see Tien was shoving the wave in mid, had really firm control of that. And either way, they're not going to be let in there. They're not going to be able to actually pick up the Soul. So Soul Point now equalized for both teams. Really does put a lot of pressure on that next objective spawning in 5 minutes. But as for the time being, it will be the Baron that will grab our attention next. 40 seconds on that objective spawn. As you can see, full build's basically coming across for everybody here. Bio's got the Zhonya's here, which is a really nice Jax pickup. Really allows him to have that survivability in the backline, even if he's dashing into a Smolder. And you can see now Kisei Void Staff completed. He's full build. Lemisy got to seek his arm guard, but very close himself. And now it really does come down to execution. Scaling, yes, slightly in the favor of Ground Zero, but Team Bliss have certainly showed us that with proper maneuvering, that doesn't matter whatsoever.
Yeah, and quite honestly, you mentioned the Smolder and the scaling conversation. He's already he's nearly at 450 stacks. I mean, we talk about the execute being achieved at 225. His entire kit now is going to be doing so much damage. It's going to be a pretty terrifying prospect. But they're getting answered back instantly by a late game Azir. Is going to really impact how aggressive you can be, especially when the rapid fire cannon proc is not available. But with the Baron for a 3rd time up now, it's Ground Zero that actually threaten.
And they literally one-shot this. I mean, if Gwen and Azir are able to hit it, I'm pretty sure it dies in less than 5 seconds with how fed these 2 members are at the moment. But for the time being, this next mid-wave will be the priority. Tien, though, is on vision here, taking a control ward, which gives Violet the go signal.
That culling really does hurt there. The locker coming in absolutely clutch there by Benvi. Burnt for the skirmish, not going to be up for that fight. That could be the difference. Bio threatening on the side, keeping their options open. Waves are crashing, still in Bliss's favour. The Weaver's Wall once again used to zone them away. It worked for them when it came to that Dragon. It's going to work for them again. Seemingly here for the Baron. We're down at 40%. Bliss's life goes in. The knockup is fantastic. Harry instantly flashing away. The Baron is forgotten about for the meantime. Christian's not been able to find the pick that he's after. Bio goes gone and he jumps at another Sonya's. Is used to good effect. And look at Violet. He's burning. He gets the summoner heal. That is the difference maker. Lemus overextends to get the kill on Harry, but they just can't find it. This really is the game of League of Zonias.
Kisei, what can he get? He's a full HP Azir. No vision onto any members of Team Bliss. I don't think he can face check this. He might be looking to cancel backs here. TP's coming out though from Bio.
Really are. They're threatening him. He instantly TP's onto Tien's head and says, Kisei, I know where you are. I know what you're trying to achieve, but I'm not going to allow it to happen on my watch. The shield's back available here for Harry, dodging that initial burst from that Banshee's Veil, but still, they play calm, they play measured, they don't take over any portion of the map that is not required, and oh, it's getting dicey here. It really is getting dicey as we hit the 41-minute mark.
It's so close here, and you can see Harry's going to use the TP onto mid lane. Doesn't want to give any alone time to the Baron for Ground Zero, but they're going to hit it anyway here, Skimmy. Why not? Has base. There's no smite in the area.
There is no smite, and as you mentioned, the Baron falls on down so quickly off of vision. It is deleted, instantly shown by the one that gets it for his team. Gets removed by a beautiful Cully, but Kisei answers back, and now Tien is doing a fair bit of damage, but Violet goes crazy wherever he gets himself a double kill. The tidal wave denied, the Aqua Prison denied, but the seismic shot will not be the Devour. It's good for the meantime, but the shield gets instantly popped. It's a triple for Violet. He wants that pentakill. He's on the quadra. He gets the penta.
You might have Smolder, but we have Violet. Team Bliss, 42 minutes in, they'll get the ace, and they'll look to take game 1.
Ultraviolet, baby, he is back in business. It's been such a long time since we've been able to say such a famous line like that. Take me back to the days of old, Peace versus Pentanet, where we said it every other week. But this early game bully, this Lucian Nami combo, and you asked the question, could it beat Smolder? Well, it has done now.
It absolutely has here. What an affair for game one. We knew it was going to be close, but this really was a nail-biter here. Ultimately, Team Bliss, they prevail off the back of a fantastic Baron fight from Violet, and they'll go up 1-0 in the series.
What a game that was there, Max. Probably the best you could ask for in a best of 5 between some of the best teams in this entire region, this split here. And they've showcased that, yes, it has its undulations. Back and forth we go, figuring out who's got the lead, who's got the objective control, who has the better scaling. But all it came down into the end was who had more CC, as Kisei couldn't immune at all with that Zhonya's. What a game one as we jump to a break.